Hello everyone, it's Roktan, and today I'm doing a rant, and I want to talk about cursing in so-called offensive language. This is all because of a Facebook post. A friend of my uncle posted this speech that a high school principal made. It was a list of rules he was laying down. Now, I actually had a problem with nearly every rule, but I'm not going to get into that. That's too much work. Mainly, I want to focus on, or maybe some other time will. Mainly, I want to focus on is the fourth rule on his list: no obscene language anywhere on school property, including athletic events. Now, it's one thing to not allow it inside the school itself, but during athletic events, emotions are going to run high, and swearing is going to happen. So already we have a problem. However, let's go further. I don't have much issue not allowing cursing in a classroom. That's disruptive. However, I would allow for exceptions. If you let an occasional curse fly, as long as the attendant wasn't disrespectful, I'd let that slide. Such cases would be getting a little frustrated with classwork, something scares you, or you're in pain. The thing is to not allow that kids of that age to talk among themselves normally outside of a classroom without fear of getting into trouble just because they use certain words. That's just wrong to me. Now, I understand these words can be used to offend, but telling someone that they can't use those words on property on school owned by the government, that's key, is a violation of freedom of speech, our First Amendment rule. Right. Sorry. We live in a marketplace of ideas. High schools and college should be more free, not less. In the end, curse words are just words. They're just a series of sounds. Now, today's swear words do sound more forceful than ones of the past, and I might be onto something to think that maybe it's the sound of the word that offends people more than the meaning or usage of the word. You know, shit and fuck kind of hits you in the face. You know, in the past, a word like humbug was something you couldn't say, but that's a soft-sounding word. You know, I don't believe in bad language in the end. You know, we're adults. We use the words to express certain things: frustration, rage, anger, fright, pain, and even the physical acts of love. It's also scientifically validated that swearing relieves stress. There was an experiment conducted where people had to put their hands in really cold water and hold it for as long as they could. The first group was allowed to swear, the other one wasn't. The group that could keep their hands were able to keep their hands in the water longer than the ones that didn't. Our language is constantly evolving, and there are words in the past that were considered taboo, and now no one cares. So I just don't get it. What makes these different? Let me give you an example of how some people get ridiculous trying to control cursing. Let's say, for example, instead of using the words, those words, you use the phrase Santa Vaca in Spanish in place of it. That means holy cow. Even more so, say you were a Christian and you don't believe in using God's name in vain. So much so that you might say, I swear to Buddha, instead of saying I swear to God. Guess what? Here's the thing. Saying Santa Vaca or I swear to Buddha, Santa Vaca means holy cow, and in Buddhism, cows are sacred. So you're okay with profaning another's deity name as long as it's not yours? So on the opposite end, say the same person didn't believe in God and said Jesus Christ name when someone or yourself happened to drop a bowling ball on their foot. In their world, that means that's perfectly polite. There's a word for that. Hypocrite. Things are going to offend us, and we should get offended, but we don't have a right to not be offended. So I posted a reply basically saying a lot of the things I just said now, and my uncle said, "What would your mother think? How could you defend kids' rights to swear?" Hey, there's a word for that too, Uncle. Grave standing. How dare anyone bring up someone who's dead in an argument? The dead can't talk, and we don't really know what they would think. We can just guess. You lose automatically when you do that. Now, I have no problem limiting epithets, though unlike cursing, those are words used with no other purpose than to offend, to judge, and to be prejudiced and racist. But this high school principal is just delusional. Here's what he says at the end of the rule. My intention is that by the time you leave this school, you will be among the few of your age to instinctively distinguish between the elevated and the degraded, the holy and the obscene. So this guy thinks that kids are never going to swear once they finish there. Those are completely unrealistic expectations. People, this is not how the real world works. Like I said, offending others and being offended is going to happen. The most you can do is ask someone more to not use those words around you. But don't just expect them to. People aren't going to follow your personal rules, your personal space rules, unless they know you. Okay? This has been Roktan, signing off. Slick out.